Well, joining us now for more, Senator John Barrasso, chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee and a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. Senator, nice to have you back on the program.
Thank you, Jenna.
What is happening in the halls behind you? Are you meeting with some fellow Democrats to try to figure out a solution here? Who's talking to who?
Yeah, discussions are happening in bipartisan ways. I want to get the country open. I want to stop the shutdown. I voted for that the other night, and I think there are others that think the way I do.
On that, Senator, if I could, I'm hearing a report from the Wall Street Journal that Senator Portman, one of your colleagues, has a plan out there that would keep the government funded for 1 year in exchange for a look at the tax code and a raise to the debt ceiling with a comparable deficit reduction. It doesn't say anything about the health care law. What do you know about that plan? Does that seem to have legs?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that plan yet. But, Jenna, the president is now asking for his 6th increase in the debt ceiling in just 5 years that he's been president. When he was in the Senate, he called it unpatriotic. He called it a leadership failure to have to raise the debt ceiling. So the president needs to be engaged. He needs to be in discussions. And so often when the debt ceiling is raised, it is a time for fiscal discipline to talk about the fact that we have maxed out the country's credit cards and need to find ways to get the spending under control.
Well, Jerry Seib in the Wall Street Journal wrote a column over this weekend about how both sides could actually win in the shutdown deficit debate. And he said that it's been a winning point for Republicans to really advocate deficit reduction. And that's where the bulk of the time needs to be spent. Do you also agree with that? And how do you see the Republican strategy moving forward over the next several hours and days as we try to figure out how to get the government open for business as you say you want it to be?
Well, deficit reduction without increasing taxes, that's a key component of this, to make sure we just don't keep going on spending and then president just says, well, just raise taxes on Americans to do it. We need to get the spending under control, and each time that the president asks to raise the debt ceiling, I think it's a time to discuss the issues, the twin tidal waves coming at us of spending, of Social Security and Medicare, and come up with a reasonable solution. The reason that the United States had been downgraded with its credit rating had nothing to do with the raising of the debt ceiling vote. It has to do with the fact we don't have a sustainable plan to deal with our incredible debt.
You're mentioning a lot of big issues: entitlements, deficit, debt reduction, and this is all coming together because of the shutdown and the debt ceiling debate. Let's talk about the mission at hand for the GOP. What is the goal in that top spot of the top priority for you, Senator? Is it defunding health care? Is it deficit reduction? Is it entitlement reform? What is the ultimate goal for Republicans?
It's a sustainable financial plan for our nation. We have a $17 trillion debt on the backs of our children and our grandchildren. With a debt that large, we need a sustainable plan that for the long term deals with this incredible debt. That's the only way that we can provide the markets with a sense of confidence that we're doing things in a responsible way.
Is it necessary for you to have a defunding or delaying part of an agreement between both sides when it comes to health care? Is that a must for you, that something has to change about the health care law and all of this? Or would you be willing to move ahead on a couple of these other things if the health care law is taken away from these negotiations?
From the day that the president gave the businesses a special deal and delayed for them a year of the mandate, I've been calling for a delay for a year of the individual mandate. I think that the workers ought to be treated the same way. This is a matter of fairness for the American people. I think the American people are right to demand that they be treated fairly, no special deals for members of Congress or for businesses that the president has gone outside the law to grant.
We'll see what stays and what goes as we continue to march along here in the shutdown. Nice to hear that there are conversations and maybe some progress happening. Senator Barrasso, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Jenna.